Hello and welcome to all of you, and thank you very much for joining us for this final session of the 2025 JCoR SDG Lab, which is a response from the Justice Coalition of Religious to the reporting and the proceedings of the 2025 High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development. And for those who have been joining us throughout the week, you are already familiar with the arrangement of our lab, which is that we have sponsored one session each day this week dedicated to one of the 5 SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals, that has been a priority or a focus for this year's UN High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development. And we come together as members of civil society under this umbrella of JCoR, which is a coalition of 24 NGOs that represent the mission of Catholic sisters, brothers, priests, and their partners through advocacy at the UN level, as well as throughout the world. And so today, our focus of our final session will be SDG number 17, which is partnerships that support all of the Sustainable Development Goals. And as usual, we have the pleasure of including in our session the voices of several members of our global network, our global community. And so we will hear from each of them in turn today. And we also expect that we will have some time at the end of the session for some interaction and some sharing among all of you who are gathered here. So if you find that you have questions or comments as you are listening to today's speakers, please keep them in mind and feel free to raise your hand to share them when the time is right. So our speakers today will include, first of all, a team that will kind of present together under the leadership of Steve Roca, who is a former Christian brother and a current mission partner of Edmund Rice International. And his ongoing connection with the Christian Brothers is largely part of his leadership of an organization called Pratiek. And so several of the team members and both children and former children who have been involved in the work of Pratiek will also be presenting today and sharing some of their work in India. And so that will include a team of children who have been involved in parliaments and those who have been involved in children's parliaments. And that will include Ritu, Nikki, Anushka, and Swarna, as well as Sorn Mishra, who continues to also be a mission partner of Edmund Rice International in India. And after that big team, we will also have the opportunity to hear from Beth Blissman, who is a co-member of the Loreto community and who is from the United States, but has joined us here today to speak about a project that is virtual and global in nature. So without further ado, I will invite the team from Pratiek to share with us about their work in support of SDG number 17 in India.
So thank you, Teresa, once again for organizing these wonderful labs as a aftermath of the VNR sessions that we had last week. New York. So Teresa coordinates Justice Coalition for the Religious, both working with New York and UN, but also across the world. I just wanted to introduce Teresa because there are new people here on this particular platform and brilliant energy here in New York. So I'm speaking from New York, and along with me, just beside me is Soren, who, and both of us actually represented India in its voluntary national review, or probably the review of the review, since we were involved with children. So when Teresa did suggest that there's going to be a platform, a laboratory on the goals, we were particularly interested in this particular one. And while most religious and people don't really find a link with goal number 17, because it seems like or something that the states must do. But we believe that it's child's play, because we're going to demonstrate today that if children can be involved in goal number 17, so can anybody else. And what we've actually done, we've also created a goal number 18, all rights for all children. But since that doesn't exist on their formal document, we go to goal number 17, which is global partnerships, the world coming together, different partners coming together, congregations coming together, schools coming together, nations coming together, embassies coming together to ensure that these goals are achieved, and sharing their skills, their learnings, their strategies, their scientific information, everything, and finding the resources to ensure that all these goals are being achieved. So I'm not going to be the prime speaker. It's going to be young people. Ritu, who is in the Children's Parliament of Delhi. Nikki, who's the national president of our National Children's Parliament across India. Anushka, who deals with environmental issues. Swarna, who is our global connect. And Soren, who had been the national minister of goal number 17 partnerships. So they'll be sharing with you what they've been doing. And hopefully through this sharing, you get a sense that involving in goal number 17 is easy and a must for us to really achieve all the other goals. So over to you, Ritu.
It's Nikki who will be talking about it.
Nikki, over to you. Nikki is the president of India's National Children's Parliament.
Hello, can I speak?
Unmute म्हणजे off ना?
So Nikki, turn on your camera too, Nikki.
Mute म्हणजे off ना? Unmute म्हणजे on.
1 minute. Okay, now can I speak?
Yes, Nikki, go ahead.
Okay, so I am Nikki from Pratyek, and I have been part of Pratyek since a very long time. And let me introduce you. Like, I am a part of 9 is Mine campaign, part of child-led movement that began in 2006, inspired by Nelson Mandela's powerful call to civil society and citizens to hold government accountable for their promises. And I serve as the president of the National Inclusive Children's Parliament, NICP, through a strong network of civil society organizations across India, and including long-term partners like WNTA, with whom we begin the 9 is Mine. And today we have active children's parliament across India. These are not symbolic, they are structured sociocratic platforms where elected children ministers evaluate the sustainable development goals on the ground, engage directly with duty barriers, and advocate for the real life issues affecting children. And since 2011, over 1.2 lakh children from across diverse communities in India, including children with disabilities, have been engaged in this journey. In recognition of the powerful movement, the United Nations headquarters presented us with a special acknowledgement award. And children from our network have traveled to New York on multiple occasions, including Soren, who is with you today, and they have interacted with global leaders like Amina Mohammed, Priyanka Chopra, and many permanent missions in New York. And been there while the UN SDGs were being shaped, they all presented Goal 18, that was all rights for all children, a bold, inclusive vision created by children for children. This is more than a campaign. It's a space where children from every background come together to raise their voices for every right, for every child, and for everyone. Even over the years, we have addressed critical SDG targets such as poverty, quality education, health, well-being, and water and sanitation, gender equality, climate action, and reducing inequalities. Also, our children's parliament debates real issues, passes actionable resolutions, and presents them directly to members of parliament, government institutions, and United Nations forums. And we, the child parliamentarians, have held dialogues from local panchayats to the state assembly and even engaged with MPs and former Vice President of India, Sri Venkaiah Naidu, inside the Indian Parliament, participated and initiated UN processes, and contributed to global spaces like the Optional Protocol 3 of UNCRC and Universal Periodic Review, that is UPR, and General Committee 26, that is GC26, on children's environmental rights. Also, as we look beyond 2030, we believe that children should not only be consulted, but co-creators of the next era of development, what we call the Inclusive Development Goals, INDGs. These must be shaped by and for those who are the last, the lost, and the least, so that no one, especially no child, is left behind. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nikki. And thanks, Mari, for inviting her to turn on her camera. But that's probably reality that we are facing here in India. She's living in a slum community. There she is, a slum community close to Indian Parliament, just a kilometer away. And yet, network can be a challenge, water can be a challenge, and she speaks on behalf of the challenges of millions of children across India. There are 400 million, and Indian government recognizes that half of them are challenged with exclusion issues and marginalization issues. So thank you, Nikki, for representing those stories and talking about the inclusive development goals and for the various ways in which you have brought in the agenda of SDGs, whether it was in national parliament or through the charter of the optional protocol 4 or anything else that you look at as opportunities to talk about the agenda of SDGs. So using all conversations across the world and in India to ensure that children are not left out from all these conversations. Thanks, Ritu. I hand it over now to Anushka. Swarna, if you can get ready with your camera as well on. And Soren, please turn on your camera when you're speaking. Over to you, Anushka.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I think Nikki shared about the Children's Parliament project, what we have. And when we are talking about partnership for the global goals, I believe that the work Pratyek and 9 is Mine is doing is very much rooted into partnership, because we have partnership with children. We have yes.
Anushka, can we all go slowly, because we have accents and we also have translators there. So we're going to take it slow, please, Anushka.
Yes. So the thing I was mentioning is that when it comes to the work Pratyek do, our work is very much rooted to partnership, with whether it's with children, whether it's with civil societies, whether it's with the government or UN bodies, schools, and different NGOs. And the entire focus is to make sure that children are co-creators of the change. And when we plan any project, what we will be taking up, we keep in mind that children are not, the project should not be just to help the children. It should be in a way that the children are working towards the global goals, and we are taking into consideration their recommendations, their lived experiences, what they want actually to change, and what are their suggestions, and how they can contribute to make these changes. So if I talk about some of the projects what Pratyek is having currently, the ongoing projects of Pratyek, we have a long partnership with UNICEF. We work with UNICEF Delhi, we work with UNICEF Assam, we work with UNICEF Mumbai. So we have different projects with them. One of it is Sustainable Saturdays, which is to promote the life mission, which the Indian government has introduced. Life mission is basically the lifestyle for environment. So we are trying to partner with the government to understand and to uplift the lifestyle for the environment, which is how the children, how the adults can work in a way, live in a way which is beneficial for the environment. So through Sustainable Saturdays, it's not an on-ground project, it's a online project, but it is making changes because it's like every month they are meeting twice a month, and they are talking about the issues related to the seven thematics of the life mission, whether it's related to water, whether it's related to energy, and what is happening around them. So when they talk about it, they are also being trained by the experts from these fields. So it's not only about theoretical knowledge, but it's also about their capacity building, that okay, you're sharing about the problems you're going through, but what can you as a child do? And I'm really happy to share that the kids have started taking initiatives such as meeting them, writing letters to the ministry, meeting the government officials. The children from Northeast have went to the government officials to talk about e-waste management and e-waste drives in each school. So these are the small initiatives what kids are taking, and how they are partnering with the government, the school authorities, and the people around them. Then, if I talk about Children's Parliament, I believe Nikki has already explained the process of Children's Parliament. We have a similar project called Earth Parliament. In Children's Parliament, kids talk about the local issues, how their rights are being affected, what are the issues around them, and what they want to address. But in Earth Parliament, they talk about the environmental issues, what they are for, what they witness every day, how the climate change is impacting them, what is happening around them, whether it's related to sanitation, whether it's related to the issues of water, electricity, and how the climate change is impacting their education, their lifestyle. So in Earth Parliament, the major focus is to talk about the environmental challenges. I would also like to share about the project we have with Slovenia Embassy. So we are very much thankful to Slovenia Embassy. They are supporting us with a project which is a very unique project. We all talk about gender issues. We all talk about environmental issues, but the project is basically gender and environmental sustainability. So we all understand that climate change is happening. There are environmental issues, but we also need to understand that climate change is impacting each one of us differently. So it also impacts each and every gender differently, whether it's male, female, or the third gender, or any other gender. It has its own impact. So we are working with children to understand that how their locality, their gender, their surrounding, their situation have different impact of the climate change. And it's not only about the projects what we also have consultations. For an example, the VNR, which we are talking about, we have started being engaged in the VNR process since 2017. And this year we got the invitation from Niti Aayog and UNICEF to conduct a consultation with children, where over around 3,000 children contributed by sharing their reflections and recommendations. And after the presentation of India's official VNR at the UN, we hosted a children's reflection on the VR this month. So there they shared about what are their views about the VNR, what has been presented to the UN, and what are their feedbacks, what are their recommendations, where they are feeling that why they are not being included, and what they want the government to change. So this is how we keep on engaging with children. We keep on partnering with different organizations and children from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and where we held consultation like GC27, where we talk about access to justice and rights. When we talk about access to justice and rights, it's on paper, it's on documentation that children can access to justice, but how child friendly the mechanism is, we really need to think about it. Whether it's access to justice or rights or VNR, we partner with children, we work with them, we don't work for them, we work with them to make sure that children are recognized as essential partners in achieving all the goals. And we are contributing to the SDGs 2030 global goals, but we have also started thinking about beyond 2030. And for that, I would invite Swarna to talk about what are the initiatives we are taking up and what is the plan beyond 2030. Thank you.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Donna, you are.
Thank you very much, Steve. So greetings, everyone. Thank you very much, Anushka, for this introduction. So one of the things we are, undertaking as an initiative to support and think on goals beyond 2030 is in UN. We call this in UN because it's Inclusive United Nations. It is a reimagined alternative for Model United Nations, MUNs, which is led by children and is based on inclusive and is about real world policy, shaping the real world policies. In UN is all about children participating from every background, regardless of their age, gender, language, religion, schools, economy, and others. In this platform, we don't let children to perform, rather we provide them a platform through the INUN to share their lived experiences. Here, we don't have the children simulate the diplomats. They are the real diplomats of their own lived experiences. And with the INUN, we also invite schools of different backgrounds to participate. And it is about, if you think about MUN, it is about elite and English-centric and debate-oriented forum. But unlike the MUN, this INUN is centered on inclusion. It's centered on inclusion and is mainly about real action as opposed to debates, and involves multilingual background where we would even have translations and interpretations made available to them. One of the outcomes we see through this INUN is that through this INUN, we get the recommendations of children through the UN mechanisms like through UNCRC, be it UPR, be it VNR. Through all these UN processes and mechanisms, we get the recommendations of children and get it fed into the global post-2030 agenda, which at the very start, as Nikki rightly said, it's called INDGs. We would like to call this as INDGs, which is Inclusive Development Goals. With this, I conclude and would like to invite Soren to talk about Circus Ad.
Before Soren comes in, Teresa, what's that video on the NUN? Maybe share that with us. It may be a bit of a repetition what Swarna shared, but it's just a child-friendly way of summarizing what Swarna did. And it's a voice of a child who's a migrant into India and who will remind us to the call to engage with the post-2030 sessions. So while Teresa navigates the technology, just what we're trying to do really is to share with you what children are doing and how they're bringing SDGs into local schemes and international platforms, local platforms, school curriculum, anything that is available to them. They see it as an opportunity to bring in all the goals and all their rights. And the bottom line is human rights criteria. So they try and look at inclusion, accessibility, affordability, and all these big works coming into all the SDGs. Over to you, Teresa.
Imagine a world where children don't just talk about change, they make it happen. Where every voice from every corner of India shapes the future of our planet. Introducing the Inclusive United Nations or INUN, a transformative child-led platform designed by Pratyek. Unlike any model UN you have seen, INUN is a real-world space where young people move beyond debates and simulations, directly impacting the world's largest policy on development, set to succeed the UN Sustainable Development Goals in 2030. Grounded in values of inclusion, rights, equity, and multilingualism, INUN brings together 200 children from every corner of India, representing diverse cultures, languages, abilities, and life experiences. This isn't just another model UN. Here, children don't just simulate, they advocate, influence real policies, and experience true inclusion. Participants engage directly with government and UN officials, ambassadors, and changemakers. They learn to model real, usable UN mechanisms and advocate for ending poverty, reducing inequality, and reversing climate change. Teamwork is at the heart of INUN. Awards focus on team submissions, not individual performances, building collaboration and unity. Join us on 19th and 20th November 2025 in Delhi at the historic Gandhi Ashram, Rajghat. Schools can nominate one student from class 8th to 12th and one student from a vulnerable community from age 13 to 17 and one accompanying teacher. From all nominations, 36 schools, one per state and union territory, will be selected for this national forum of learning, leadership, action, and impact. Participation fees cover local travel and food during the event. Please note, travel to Delhi and accommodation are not included. Engage with government and UN officials. Influence the world's largest development policy. Experience true inclusion. Building leadership and advocacy skills. Earn a certificate endorsed by national and international organizations. Be part of a movement where every child's voice matters. Nominate your students by 20th August 2025. Selected schools will receive further details via email. Let's build a future where every child is heard. Join the Inclusive United Nations, where India's children shape the world.
Thanks, Robin, who is the voice in the background. And the last picture you saw of children all together in the frame was actually the picture of the VNR we had in India, where the Indian government, the Niti Aayog, UNICEF, and us with children, consulted children, and put that report together. So now over to Soren, who's going to share with you how he's using a fun activity to ensure 1 million children come on board with designing the post-2030 agenda, and probably beginning with their review on child rights, which they've already put together, as well as the voluntary national review segment of the children's report. Over to you, Soren. Video.
I'm audible to everyone? Perfect. So good morning to New York and very good evening to India. So I'm Soren from a part of Pratik. So I have started a circus art, as Steve has mentioned, and I was a formal partnership minister in the national platform, and I was a prime minister in my local children's parliament when I was child. So now I started circus art is a circus art is connected with, of course, with the circus art. So I believe that everyone knows about the what is circus art actually. So we have given the name of the circus art is basically is circus art for social changes. we are not talking about here for the entertainment things or to entertaining people or any new like new things we can give it the name as a like uh so however that like we say when we think about circus in India, the people feels and says the joker things, but this things we have like this things has brought us in our life that has changed many children's life. So I would like to, there is a small video I would like to represent that first, then I just talk about why we are doing that, and you can get some more idea while you're watching that video. The children are talking how they have improved and implement their life while doing the circus art things.
Once again, oh, yeah.
आपको साइकिल चलाना पसंद है?
बहुत ज्यादा पसंद है मुझे।
क्यों चलाना पसंद है साइकिल?
क्योंकि इसमें हमें देखा भी जाता है और हमारी आवाज भी सुनी जाती है।
ऐसा क्यों है? क्या खास बात है साइकिल में?
क्योंकि ये साइकिल बस हमारे पास है और किसी के पास नहीं है।
Can change people's mind, because when we talk about circus art in India, it is not often used by everybody, and people commonly use it as jokers. I mean, jokers thing to do and entertain people. But we believe that it is not actually jokers thing. When we go to a circus, our attention is towards the jokers. Okay, so when we do it, as of now, if people want us to think ourselves as jokers, we would do it. But all we need is their attention, and we need them to understand what we are speaking. And when we speak about things like when we talk about some personal issues of each individual and each child, and we tell them that they come from a very local and very unprivileged places where they are not even asked for water, food and things.
I have performed circus art all my life as a child, and circus art has helped me learn a lot of things, including my English, my public speaking skills, and it also added to my confidence and in my overall personality development. It has, but most of all, it has helped me reach out to more and more people and talk about issues that include climate change, women rights, health and hygiene, and children's rights.
I want to become a circus art teacher. Wise! Equality.
Courage.
Creativity. Hope. Awareness. Growth. Play.
Dignity.
Confidence.
Advocacy.
Community.
Freedom.
Hi.
Thank you, Teresa. So I hope you get some basic idea about why we are using a circus art for the changing the world, not we are talking about India. So I give you one more idea. When we say the participation, the children has mentioned that we get various platform to do as a participation, and people do the participation. The many platform many people are here is all the participation, including myself. When we talk about the participation, and it's very similar with the global partnership, we are our agenda here, goal number 17. So participation is just a participation, and participation need a action, which as a children they are taking an action right now, and we all need, of course the action is very important right now, rather than just for the participation. I'll come to the again for the circus art things. So we aim to, Steve mentioned, we are aiming to reach 1 million children across India, to talk about their rights, to talk about their problem, where they can talk about the daily issues which they are facing. And we need to bring the last voice, which we are not including in our rights. So we need to bring those children along with us, their voice. If they are not, of course, we are facing for the fundings to get some more funding to reach out 4 million children in India. And one day, of course, we're going to reach all the 400. We do, how many we have, the total number of children in India across the world, not talk about India, across the world. That day will become soon. Yeah. So I'm looking for the post 2020 30 to talk about all the goals and bring the children's in New York in the UN headquarters. The children's will, while they're performing the circus art, and they put their own voice, rather than Richie children's coming across and talking about the UN, like in the VNR or whatever. In 2027 also is they are talking about the new goals, which I heard while I was sitting in the UN. Yeah. So they're going to preparing 70 again some goals and editing. So I believe, and I'm able to bring some children's along with me. Of I'm not able to but children will be come and talk about their rights and their own hopes.
Thanks, Soren, for
Thank
that.
you so much.
So we're here still in New York, hanging around here, hoping to meet the Permanent Mission of India, as well as the Deputy Secretary General, Amina Mohammed, who we are hoping would be the next Secretary General of the UN, and other UN chiefs, basically say, look, 5 years' time, we'll be talking about the goals again, whatever form, whether you want to extend these goals or have new goals. But this time round, children can't be an add-on. They have to be central to your goals, because they're going to feel the impact of the goals. So basically the message here is, you can use creative methods, you can use traditional methods, and use all platforms basically to ensure that all goals are heard and realized, and that young people and old and everyone really keeps governments accountable. As Nelson Mandela said years ago, it's you that will make the goals possible, not and realized, not the leaders. It's ordinary citizens. So with that, then I hand it over to Teresa. Thank you. And if there are questions later on, I'm happy to table them. But thank you, Teresa, once again.
Thank you very much, Steve, Soren, Anushka, Ritu, Nikki. Thank you, all of you, for your participation, for your sharing with us today, and for the important work that you do. And Swarna as well. I'm sorry, I left one name out there. You really are expanding our usual notion of partnership in an important way. And our other speaker today will relate to this, but you have really put in the center of your work the idea of intergenerational partnership. The idea that, there are valuable perspectives and ideas and experiences that are being lived at all stages of life, And there is really no reason that we can't be incorporating a much more full span of that range, that scope of life into our decision making and into our political leadership and into diplomatic proceedings like those that happen at the UN. And I am particularly holding on to the notion that, the children's parliaments are not symbolic, that this is not an exercise, it is not training for future decision making or teaching children how to play the game that adults play in an arena of diplomacy, but rather to bring children into a genuine conversation as legitimate participants with valid perspectives and viewpoints, and to say, this is not a rehearsal. We're not practicing for some other life, and our rights and our experiences matter right now in this moment. And so we should be heard in this moment. And at the same time, we know that children have the most to gain or to lose with regard to the decisions that are being made at a very high level right now, because they are likely the ones who will be here on this planet the longest of anyone in the room. And so this is their voices are so central and maybe the most important to hear in this kind of decision making. And I also just wanted to name how fascinating your work, Soren, is with Socus art, which I love. That name is very clever, to combine circus and social. And it's very touching, the point that is made so clearly among your participants is to say the art is the opportunity for people to see us and to hear us. And then once we have that attention, then we can deliver this important message that we have to share. And so it's very clever, it's very smart, and it also incorporates one of the key aspects of development, because we understand very well from psychology and development psychology that play is one of the central components of how we develop intelligence and critical thinking and social skills as human beings. And yet, for some reason, we have decided in society that we should stop all that when we become adults, and that play is just for childhood. But it seems to me that we could use a lot more play in adult places, what have been adult places like the UN, so that we can continue to develop as human beings throughout our lives, and not just keep that in its place in childhood. So anyway, thank you to all of you for your incredible work. You are creative and bright, and you are seeing a bigger and better world than has been offered to you thus far. And that is the vision that we absolutely need. So thank you so much for that. And I know there will be questions and comments for you, so I hope you can stay on a bit longer. But before we come to questions and responses, we will also hear from our other speaker, who is Beth Blissman, a co-member of the Loreto community, and who will be speaking to us about a partnership that is global in nature to support sustainable development. And it looks like she is joined there by her intern in the office, Hannah Reyes. So I will allow them both to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Teresa. Can you all hear us okay? Beautiful, wonderful, wonderful. And thank you, Steve and Soren and team, for that inspiring presentation. This is just so exciting to be talking about all these wonderful international collaborations and intergenerational collaborations as well. My name's Beth Blissman, and I have the honor of being a co-member, a lay member of the Loretto community for over 30 years now. And I've been the United Nations representative for the past 8 years for the US-based Loretto community. We have sisters in the US and in Pakistan, and sister communities in both Ghana and Guatemala. Deeply grateful to be here, and now we have new partners, and we also represent the Sisters of Charity of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Dubuque, Iowa. We've been collaborating with them for almost a dozen years now, and our newest partners are Mary's Pence and Sisters Rising Worldwide, which is the organization you'll be hearing us talk about today. And I'm very excited too that we get to work in an intergenerational space, and deeply grateful to have my intern Hannah Reyes. Let me turn it over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hannah Reyes. I am a summer intern with Beth. Actually, today is my last day, unfortunately. But I was educated by Loretto's for 13 years. So from kindergarten up through my senior year of high school. And I'm currently in my undergrad. I am a rising sophomore at the University of Pennsylvania. And yes, I'm just very excited to be here. Excited to present. There's definitely some great initiatives, and thank you again to everyone who just presented. It's so inspiring to hear.
Yes, and we have a brief PowerPoint. We're going to try and pull it up here. Yes, there we go. And I've put my contact info into the chat, and Hannah will go ahead and put hers as well. All right, here we go. And we may even try and share a little video as well if we can. We'll see how that goes. All right, so if we look at, is it view that I want for slideshow? Is that right? Oh, yeah, that takes up the whole screen. There we go. Excellent. All right. Well, we are here today to talk about Sisters Rising Worldwide as one tool to help achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. All of them. Our kind of tagline and motto in Sisters Rising Worldwide is "So all may flourish." That means not just the humans, not just certain people within the church, not just certain countries, but so all may flourish. Now, how do I get to the next slide? That's my only issue. Ah, there we go. Just had to swipe the little thingamajigger. Okay, so it's important for us to keep in mind as well that we have a global context. And this view of Earth from space, truly, it's not even been around for my lifetime yet. So this is a rather new perspective to humanity. I mean, we knew theoretically, and indigenous peoples talk all the time about the fact that we all share one planet and only one planet. In the country where I was born and raised, the US, that perspective is taking hold more slowly. But the good thing is Agenda 2030, which is the overall name for the United Nations effort that encompasses both the Paris Climate Agreement that was agreed upon in 2015 at COP21 in Paris, France, and the Sustainable Development Goals, all 17 of them. That perspective, that agenda recognizes that we only have one planet, and it's time for us all to learn how to share all the resources. And as everyone knows, the Sustainable Development Goals, they're big, they're kind of unwieldy, but it's the only strategic plan that humanity has right now that's been mutually agreed upon by all 193 countries. There's 17 goals, 169 targets, and over 230 indicators for measuring progress. So definitely an attempt, at least, to take a comprehensive approach to our current situation. So let's take a peek at how that's going. And how, there we go. So I like Sustainable Development Goal number 17, partnerships for the goals, because it is overarching and inclusive, and it focuses on strengthening all the different means of implementation, right? Some of the critiques of the Sustainable Development Goals are that there are too many of them, they're too unwieldy, one doesn't know where to start, and some people make the argument that you must achieve one of them first before any of the others, or one's more important, or the linchpin to all the others. That might be true, might be gender, who knows? But I like SDG 17, and I would like to note they're all interconnected, right? I think we can work on many of them simultaneously, and the thing that would help us the most is to take a systems perspective and to look at this like an ecosystem. Earth gives us perfect examples of how to get along and integrate with more biodiversity at the edges, like the edge between a field and a stream, or a forest and a field. How can we use that perspective of learning from nature and apply it to human society in our efforts to all get along? And SDG 17 is helpful in that respect. It has 19 targets and 25 indicators, and it covers big picture things, overarching things like finance, technology, capacity building, and various systemic issues. Sisters Rising Worldwide offers a unique form of technology to assist with capacity building and support for some of the folks who have been doing the work for hundreds upon hundreds of years, probably millennia, actually, the women in the church, and specifically Catholic sisters doing the work at the grassroots level. So let's take a peek at Sisters Rising Worldwide, what it is. We're going to go to the website now, and I'll just say that our technology tools that we offer are a nifty website and then this really great online platform called the Peace Room. We'll talk about why sisters might want to join the Peace Room. I'll just say right now that I just talked about SDG 17. We address nearly all of the indicators, but we especially lift up this tool as a way to focus on local capacity building, technological empowerment, and then faith-based and values-driven partnerships. Plus, it's a great way to talk about support for sisters and for sisters to get support and network and collaborate with other sisters all around the world, not hampered by time zones, geography, or language. So that's where the technology can be used in a very positive way. And then we'll end by talking about an upcoming program we're going to launch later on this month, now that we're in August. And Hannah will take us there and talk about that. Now, how do I exit this so I can go to the website? There we go. All right. So now we're heading over to the Sisters Rising Worldwide website, which is very, very simple. It's just srw.org. And that is one of the easiest websites I've ever been connected to in my life. And one important thing to remember about the website is we're about to upgrade it. So it might look very, very different in a month or two, but I like our new opening page about Sisters Powered by Innovation. And this map here is what you see when you log into the Peace Room, and we'll show you that. Here's the pathway for sisters to go into the Peace Room and get started. But the whole idea is we want to stand with the sisters. I've been a co-member of Loretto for over 30 years now, and while I personally don't feel called to that particular pathway, I find that some of the best things in my life have come about because I hang out with Catholic sisters. Maybe some of you have experienced that as well. And so it's time to stand with the sisters, because we estimate there are over 500,000, at least. Some say over 650,000 sisters right now globally. But there's no list or way for them to connect with each other or collaborate. And we know sisters are usually the ones who connect us with good things and serve at the grassroots. So you can check out this website at your own pace. There's a wonderful little TED Talk by our Chief Operating Officer, Kelly Mallon Young. And Kelly is also a laywoman, but her cousin is a sister who talked Kelly and her two sisters into being involved with this. And they're the ones who actually help build and run the platform, which is great. You can read here about recently funded programs. So what we do is we offer a platform for sisters to tell their stories and talk about what they're doing. Occasionally, we also have crisis alerts. And another important thing is that everyone can help out. Everyone can be a sister champion as well, and you'll hear more about that later. I'll also direct you to our About Us page, so you can join the movement yourself. But I wanted to lift up our mission and vision statement. Our vision is that Sisters Rising Worldwide is a global movement of sisters who are actively addressing the root causes of social injustice to create systemic change in the world. How do we do that? We have this really cool, innovative technology platform to connect hundreds of thousands of sisters to each other and to resources, allowing them to better address critical key issues of injustice throughout all the world so that all may flourish. You can read more about the platform here, but for now, I'm going to take you there and show you around a little bit. So when you enter the Peace Room, this is what you see. And for sisters, you'll see when I presented about this program last year at this time, we had 273 sisters on the platform. Now we have 476, so we're rapidly closing in on 500. The more the merrier, and I know some of you on this call are also on this platform, so I hope you'll pipe up when we get to the Q&A time and tell us about your experience. And if there's anything you need me to change or improve, let me know. But we can look at the people. We can see that sisters have listed 196 active programs right now. There are also 54 active funding campaigns going on. And how we do the funding is we do crowdfunding. On that very first website, you can see there are lots of places where anyone can click on a program that a sister is doing and donate to it. We also approach very wealthy individuals. Sometimes we approach foundations also for funding. But really, what we try and do is inspire people to want to help the sisters. And the good news about our funding campaigns is the money goes directly to the sisters. So it doesn't somehow get filtered off among any other of the pathways of our beautiful hierarchical church, where sometimes money gets lost on the way to the sisters. Sisters Rising Worldwide makes sure the funding goes directly to the sisters, which is great. And occasionally you'll see right now, this is the first time we've ever been up in double digits in terms of funding alerts. And you'll see the hot spots of our Ukraine, Uganda, South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, where there are either natural disasters and or wartime going on right now. So I could walk you through all the cool things about the Peace Room and how you can post programs and do your impact reports after you get funding through a funding campaign. But I think what I'll pop up right now is just the fact that you can write messages to each other. And I have lots of friends now all around the world. And the cool thing is, if I want to write to my friend, who speaks Spanish, I just kind of pop up her name right now and I can write to her in English. And she'll get it in Spanish, and she can write back to me in Spanish and I'll get it in English. So it's very, very exciting that we can write to each other, and then people can respond in their own time zone at their own time. And it's also a great way for sisters to network. We have a whole resource library that we're building around different topics. And there was just recently a great podcast featuring Sister Irene, our founder, and Kelly, our COO. But I wanted to note we do lots and lots of work to try and end human trafficking. And we have some great resources up here. So sisters can collaborate with each other across countries, across continents, as we all work together to try and end human trafficking, one of the greatest scourges to humankind. At this point, to explain the Peace Room a bit more, we have a nifty little video that I'm gonna try and play. And let me know if you cannot hear it. Yeah.
Room is a secure private site for sisters that provides the opportunity to share their knowledge and resources to address root causes of systemic problems throughout the world. The Peace Room was created to connect sisters from different congregations and countries to build a community to share the power of their work. It is a global database with the ability to translate into many different languages and designed to share knowledge, document work, and build relationships. As a member of the Peace Room, you will instantly be connected to a network of sisters around the world, sharing best practices, success stories, and ministry needs. This will ultimately broaden the circle of friends and benefactors to help more sisters address the root causes of social injustice to create systemic change in the world. Once you have been given access and logged into the Peace Room, you will see an interactive map where you can locate sisters, programs, funding campaigns, and crisis alerts using the World View. Use the search feature to locate another sister, program, funding campaign using either a name, title, or location. For example, if I am looking for Sister Irene, I would type Irene and see that she is located in the US. I can then click on her profile and see what she is working on, or send her a message. Programs allow you to share the work you do so other sisters may benefit from your success. Click on Programs and choose a country. I will choose one from the US, and we can find everything that was shared about this program. Do you have a funding need for a program that is addressing a root cause of injustice in your community? Start a funding campaign through the Peace Room. Here is an active campaign in El Salvador. If you are facing an immediate crisis and need resources or funding, you can complete a crisis alert form and get the help you need. Here in the Ukraine, you can see that there are 3 crisis alerts, including a convent needing a new water heater. Collaboration is critical to sharing knowledge and a key capability of the Peace Room. To enable sharing, you will have access to a resource library to read others' success stories and critical information shared as articles. Use the search bar at the top of the library page to search by name as well as share your own by clicking the Write button at the top right-hand corner of the page and type in your story as you would a Word document. A chat feature provides the ability to communicate with other sisters around the world no matter what the language spoken. There are currently 18 countries represented in the embedded Google Translate function. Sisters all over the world have found the Peace Room to be a vital part of their mission. Here are some direct quotes from Peace Room users. What are you waiting for? Join the Peace Room and share your knowledge.
Time now for your questions. Oh no, actually time now to turn it over to Hannah to talk about how we're going to be spreading the word about Sisters Rising worldwide across generations starting this month. Okay, over to you, Hannah.
For sure. I'm just gonna share my screen really quickly. Okay. So this is a new initiative that we're launching. It's something that I've been working on like most of this summer with Sisters Rising Worldwide and Beth. So originally, I guess where this idea came from was the fact that a lot of Gen Z, my generation, kind of younger people aren't as involved with initiatives, or they don't really have a full view of the type of work that the sisters do on the ground. So to kind of get people engaged from a younger perspective, we've implemented this kind of new program called the Impact Collective. So this one is focused on college-age students, in which it's a competition that they will compete to raise the most money, produce the most outreach, and like overall just spread the word about Sisters Rising Worldwide and the work that each sister does on the ground. So essentially, college students, individuals, likely among campus groups, will be guided by SRW staff to learn about the global impact that sisters are making around the world while utilizing any sort of their passions for social justice to support the inspiring work that all of these sisters do. So as each student reaches milestones of how much money that they've I guess fundraised for, they'll be rewarded with meaningful items to show their dedication and like appreciation. And the 2 college students who raise the most total funds will each win a trip to the United Nations High-Level Political Forum. So this is really where that partnership kind of comes into play, intergenerationally through Sisters Rising Worldwide, and then eventually at the United Nations. In addition to that, the students will also be presented with a $2,500 scholarship. And essentially, how to win would be signing the most Sister Champions up, which is a monthly donor. So even if some of you guys on call aren't inherently college age and you wouldn't be able to participate in this, you can 100% participate in the initiatives that they'd support, including Sister Champions. So you can be a monthly donor for just like a coffee cup a month of $5 to support the Sisters initiatives. In addition to that, we're launching a virtual event in September called Sisters Run the World. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Personally, as someone who's in college, I think this is very inspiring, and it's definitely a great way to get different generations engaged and in partnership with the amazing initiatives that happen around the world. I'll stop sharing there and hand it back over to Beth, or if we're moving on to questions.
Great. Thanks so much, Hannah. And yes, that is our presentation. And now we're happy to move into the Q&A portion and get into dialogue generationally and across continents with our friends and colleagues in India and all around the world. Back to you, Teresa.
Excellent. Thank you, Beth and Hannah. That is always such an interesting approach to trying to move resources in the world to where they are most needed. And it's especially helpful because I think there is a significant population in the world that does admire and recognize the both efficient and effective work of sisters and the many, many different forms of good work that they do in local communities. And yet there are many of the people with resources to spare in the world would not know how to share their resources with those sisters. And so this community and this tool that exists through Sisters Rising Worldwide really helps to make that connection and bridge that gap. And as you said, it's not just about the funding, but also about building relationship and connection, sharing informational resources among sisters themselves, and also bringing more partners into that conversation and really trying to broaden the tent of participants and supporters of the good works of sisters. So a great initiative that many in the JCoR world can really be actively engaged in. So thank you very much for sharing it with us. And thanks also to the sisters who are on the call today, who are already part of that community, for helping to enliven it and to help spread the good word. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have some time for interaction today, and we certainly have been given a lot of strong inspiration and food for thought. And so I would now like to invite anyone in the room who may have either a question, a comment, a reaction of any kind that you would like to share in response to our presenters today. Or perhaps if you have been attending our sessions throughout the week and you want to offer a reflection on an idea that you are taking away from the lab as a whole, we would also welcome you to share that comment. So the floor is open to you, and if you would like to speak, you could either turn on your camera and raise your actual hand, or you can use the digital hand raising option, which you will find at the bottom of your screen. You will see either a button that says raise hand, or you may see a button labeled reactions. And if you click on reactions or react, then you will find the option to raise your digital hand within that react section. So is there anyone who would like to share a comment or a question?
Hello, Teresa.
Yes, please,
Yes.
Sister Jane Francis, go ahead.
Yes, I'm Sister Jane Francis, and today I'm happy to have attended almost all the Zoom meeting. And today I've seen that, you know, there are people who have not really been visible in contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals, and especially children and the sisters.
Oh, you've muted yourself, Sister Jane Francis.
There are partners who have come out with the innovation, like Bess and Stephen, bringing out to the voices of the children and of the sisters. And the sisters contribute a lot in the Sustainable Development Goals. But on behalf of my sisters, I could say that our work is not visible. But through Bess and through this partnership, I think our work will be visible in the whole world, what we do and what we contribute to the universe. Thank you. Thank you, Beth, and thank you, Stevie, for the innovation of bringing up the children and the sisters on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane Francis. Yes, you remind me of an idea that we often return to in our work as JCoR, which is the idea that, you know, in the past, people had the idea that advocacy was about being the voice for the voiceless. But as we evolve, and I hope make progress toward the world that we truly want, in fact, our advocacy should be more about helping to make the voices that are unheard heard, and not stand in for them, but just to move beyond the world of even conceiving that there are people without a voice, and realizing every person has a voice, but it's only our shortcoming if we fail to hear them. Yes, Anita, please.
Just wanted to say that it was really inspiring, today's presentations, and very apt for the last session, you know, networking and coming together, I thought. And two things, I mean, from both the presentations, what struck me is many a times people who are vulnerable are pushed to a corner and the only option left is to protest or struggle. But if you can be creative, you can just jump over that hurdle and create a safe space, a very positive energy that actually questions hierarchies and political power in a creative way without being confrontational. So, you know, even the platform for sisters is non-hierarchical, right across creative sharing that is so much lacking in kind of the official structure. So without kind of questioning it, but you're just creating a space that, you know, that doesn't need, you know, that just opens and frees a lot of energy and creativity of people coming together. And even the Children's Parliament, I think, like, is a brilliant idea because children are hardly heard and they have so much that they observe and know and can share when treated at par. and listened to, and a parliament makes it much more heard and in a very more tangible way. So voices coming up in that form of children's collectives, I think, have been extremely positive, and the sharings today were very, very creative and inspiring. So thank you all.
Thank you very much, Anita. Yes, Sister Franca.
It's getting to evening here, so I would like to say good afternoon, good evening to everyone from Manchester. I'm happy to be able to attend, even if it is the last session. And it was actually Beth that alerted me to it. I said, oh, I must come back to this family because I have been part of it, and for some reason, being so engaged in my own work, I haven't been faithful in attending the meetings. I just want to affirm Brother Stephen for the great work that he and his team are doing with the children. I find that model of partnership very, very innovative and very, very attractive. I mean, in the UN, we've been talking about the summit of the future. And I'm wondering myself, how many of the UN mechanisms have taken this trouble to really get down to ensure that the younger generation that the summit of the future is promoting are being reached and motivated to become active. But this model that Stephen has shown to us today, and all the team, the work they have been doing with the young people, it's a very good model to sell out. So whatever way you will be able to manage to sell it out to the public, it will be most appreciated and used for those who are interested in innovation and who are passionate about, bringing justice around the world. There are some phrases that I listened to today, and I heard about not just leaving no one behind, but including the least, the lost, I think, and there was a third one. It has escaped my mind now that I'm talking. But immediately I got that, I put it down. I said, oh, that's most interesting phrase. Yes, the least, the lost, the last, the least, and the lost. I found it. So, the work of sisters, when I link this up with what Beth has shared with us, is a way that we have managed through partnership, through support, to be able to reach out to the last, the least, and the lost, but often is not visible. Sometimes some of us do it so quietly because we think it's very important, virtuous, to be so humble and not make noise about what you are doing. But sometimes making a little bit of noise can bring some form of transformation around people, and it helps people to know what is going on. As Daughters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul, Sister Michelle, my colleague in New York, introduced me to Sisters Rising worldwide. And since then, I have benefited at least 2 good projects, one of which I had great reports, and currently we have received support to get into advocacy training to interrupt human trafficking, through the rights to live in a clean, green, and healthy environment. that project is at hand. I didn't have to go through too much struggle, to get that funding. Like many other organizations, you will fill forms and answer questions and answer questions. But the level of trust that exists in the Sisters Rising, like it's a big risk to be able, to fund people and just let them go on with what needs to be done and report. And that gives great confidence to those people who ask for funds. It's not easy to ask. And when I think that, even from the United States of America, a lot of fundings have been cut. The UN in Geneva, they are crying loud, because so many people have lost their job because of funding cuts from the US. But we were still able, to get this. Above all the challenges and struggles, that we experience and bureaucracy of the situation we live in, the Sisters Rising worldwide, they try to make things a lot more easier, for people who have the courage to go and ask. It's not easy to ask, because in some of the places where we come from, we wouldn't have to ask if whatever we have, the resources we have, were well managed. So that is a story for another time. Thank you. Lovely to meet you, Teresa. Lovely to meet all of you again. And Beth over there, and your intern, thank you for sharing with us. God bless.
Thanks, Sister Franca. Great to see you again and continue another partnership across from one UN office to New York to Geneva.
Yes.
Are there any other questions or comments that anyone would like to share? And I will include in that anyone who has been a speaker today who might like to respond to others is also invited. Yes, Denin, please go ahead.
So, good afternoon, good evening to some, and good morning to some others. So, I'm happy to be part of this JCoR team, and I've been attending the sessions as we are members of the VWAT International. But I'm happy today to see both the speakers, Steve Rocha and Beth Blissman. Steve Rocha, we were part of his team, 9 is Mine and NICP, Children's Parliament in India, way back when I was in India. Right now I'm based in Rome. And his work, when he said that he was part of his children, NICP children were part of BNR, it was very amazing to listen from him. But today, when I listen directly from the children. It was very inspiring because one of our child from our congregation whom we promoted for NICP 9 is Mine through Steve Rocha is part of the national level team. So it's a very good program. So as he is wishing to partner with not only with India, with other countries, it's a very good approach. So I thank Steve Rocha to bringing it out to the bigger international level. Thank you for that. And also we thank Beth and his team who have opened up this platform, and I am part of it as a congregation member. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you for that extra testimony in favor of the work of Pratyek, Sister Denin. And Sister Marie Claire, please go ahead.
Sorry.
Please go ahead, Sister Marie-Claire.
Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning somewhere. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And often I have been registering, and because of network of the work, it finds me in the bush. I am unable to attend. If I got well, is the group from India, brother, is no longer in the congregation? He has only changed the place. He has remained the Christian brother. Thank you very much for the work, brother, you are doing. And I was touched when I saw all the categories of our young one who are in the parliament. This really is the gospel preached by life. Yes, to be closer to those voiceless, neglected, but they can rise by themselves, having someone to push them, to be with them. I am also very happy to get in touch with the second presenter. Myself, I was thinking that all of them, they were sisters. And this really is a great news to see how our lay people are supporting us in order for us to be relevant in bringing Jesus, in bringing God to the poor one. So as Sister Francesca was saying, Sangha, I support it. I'm very grateful. Yes, I have been helped by the Loreto sister. I didn't know even that, Teresa, you were a Loreto. You see? Thank you very much. Thank you for the work that you are doing to support us who are in the remotest areas. And this, I think, is the beauty of the church, that all of us, we bring what we have in order to reach, to bring God to his people. So thank you very much. Yes, we will get in touch. We have heard. Thank you.
Thanks, Sister Marie-Claire. That's such a good summary of what partnership is, each one bringing what they have to share. And I think I saw a hand a minute ago of Steve. Steve, did you want to speak again?
Sure. I was just amazed that you pitted both Beth and me together. And I was expecting Beth to speak about nuclear disarmament, but wasn't expecting this entire thing on women. And actually, the similarity I felt in both children and women are excluded in a patriarchal society. And I think it was wonderful that both were dragged in together to say we are the ones who, claiming our own voices and our own spaces, would be able to make the world that's more equitable, more inclusive, more just, and based on right relations rather than patriarchal, hierarchical relations. So thanks, Beth, for sharing the space with us. And I thought it was in itself a gospel message. Thanks, Teresa.
Beautiful. Yes, very well said. It's amazing. We all fit together well when we step back and look at how we hold the challenges in common and many times the solutions in common. Beth?
Yes, certainly, Steve. I credit it to the spirit that put the agenda together for us today. And thank you, Teresa and Katie, for carrying it out and holding the space for the spirit to do the work, right? I've heard several people say, most recently my friend Joni, the space in between the SDGs, whether you look at the circular version or the rectangular version, the spirit is the space between the SDGs that weaves it all together, right? And I just wanted to say two quick things that I forgot to mention during the presentation. One is I forgot to put up the logo. So keep an eye out for this little logo campaign about our Help Sisters Run the World. campaign this fall. It's literally, we all collaborate together to count our steps, whether we're running, walking, swimming, bicycling, unicycling. We can all participate to help run the circumference of Earth, which I think is something like 26,000 miles. And we're all going to collaborate to do that this fall and see how quickly we can do it while supporting the sisters. It's a great form of prayer, I think, personally, and a great way to move the spirit. And I should lift up Teresa Blumenstein as a role model here, who bikes back and forth to work from Queens every day. So thank you, Teresa, for being that role model in so many ways, not the least of which is keeping low on the use of fossil fuels. And then I just wanted to note, if there are any sisters here today who wish to sign up on the platform, please include in your application materials that you're with JCoR or that you were at the presentation today, and that will help us get you approved more quickly. Because sometimes we get a little bit of a backlog depending on which staff people are in and who's out, and who's able to do the work of helping people through the process. So that's all I wanted to say. But yes, thank you all again. This was very enlightening, and I think will hopefully be well viewed on our website. And there's so many resources on the JCoR website. Huge shout out to Katie for putting that together. Katie is a technology goddess, and I can just spend the whole day on the JCoR website and still not even touch the surface of the wonderful iceberg of information that is there to be used and to be shared. So thank you all for the opportunity.
Thank you, Beth. That is an exciting way to bring people together. So whatever form of walking or cycling, or yeah, I like the inclusion of unicycle for those in the SOCUS crowd. Unicycling can be included as well. Steve?
So just the final appeal to all of us who belong to different congregations. We're going to appeal to your congregation leaders and to anyone we know to be part of the consultations globally and locally in India to design the SDGs. We don't know where the SDGs are moving, but we do know that we need to claim our space and children's voices in this entire dialogue. And that's what we're going to appeal to you to engage with these conversations. Swarna will lead the global piece as well as the Indian piece. So asking you to bring in your networks of schools, NGOs, congregations, everyone together. Everyone's invited and must participate. Thanks, Teresa. Thanks, Beth.
Great. And another great note to sum us up on the concept of partnership is everyone is invited, and in fact, everyone is needed. Everyone is necessary. So we can all keep that thought in mind as we leave our conversation of partnership today. I think most of those who spoke from the Pratyek team are no longer on with us, but I think I still see Soren is here and Anushka is here. Is there anyone else from the Pratyek team that wanted to offer a final word?
Swarna is here as well.
Oh, yes, and Swarna, yes.
Swarna, turn on your camera, please. There you go.
Yes, here I am.
Swarna, do you have a final word for us?
Sure. May I just go ahead?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Teresa. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much, Steve, for this opportunity, for this wonderful opportunity. Just, I mean, I again would like to request you from my end that I would be supporting Pratyek as a global partnership lead. So I would very much recommend that you and your network, all the sisters, all the network who are here globally working together on SDGs, be a part of our consultations that we organize in India, as just Steve has requested very rightly. And especially the things that we are organizing on Inclusive United Nations, or be it on peace and partnership that we organize any consultations, we would very much recommend that you be part of us. And yeah, thank you very much. So we organize a lot of consultations with children. For example, like this VNR we organized, we do have these consultations with children, where we would also love to have the global community, the children of global community together, be part of this as well, so that their recommendations, their thoughts would be fed into this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Swarna, and you are such a good leader to make sure that we leave with an assignment and an action. And so many have mentioned that is so important. That has been emphasized not only today, but throughout this week as such an important factor, that not only do we have a role to identify many different injustices in the world, but we also have an important role to play in responding, whether that is through dialogue and demanding stronger responses on a systemic level from government, but also in our own relationships and connections and communities. We all have a responsibility, and we all have some opportunity to act. And if we are creative, we can always find more. And that is definitely something that I am taking away from all that has been shared today and all of this week of lab sessions. So I think we have no further requests to speak. So with that, oh, yes, Steve, go ahead.
Just a big thank you to Teresa and Katie. I mean, the hard work you put together, and I know I got many messages saying, please send us a script, where is the script? So lots of background work happening to make this possible. I know these last 5 days have not been easy and meant a lot of hard work. Thanks, Teresa, for both the spirit and energy and the wisdom you bring to the platform, but more for walking the talk. I mean, to me, you are a new form of religious life, and I really would like to I'm so glad that you're leading the way as a layperson. I asked you the question which congregation you belong to a while ago, but realize that you actually hold the right spirit for this job, and really want to acknowledge that even your small little choices of not throwing out sometimes recyclable stuff, or the choices of cycling into town, all these small choices to me are a big message that our founders' spirits are all living in people like you, and certainly JCoR is in great hands. So thanks, Teresa, for creating this platform.
Thank you, Steve. That's very generous, and I'll respond only in saying, all of that spirit I learned from the many. I always, when asked the question about if I'm connected to or a member of a congregation, I say I really live among them all, and for that reason, I have really been formed by many charisms. And that is such a blessing. So thanks to all of you who helped to curate those charisms and to continue to spread them and share them with lay people and partners of every kind in the world. With many hands, we can make the work much lighter. So thank you for your openness to partnership with lay people and to the future that we can build together. And with that, we will close our session and, in fact, our SDG Labs for 2025. And I do want to acknowledge and thank our fabulous team of interpreters, Anna and Vivian and Gabriella, who have been with us all week, and in some cases who have been part of our training program all year. They are such an important part of this event and all of the work that it represents. And it makes it possible for us to be a community that stretches around the world. So thank you all very much. Thanks to our speakers, to everyone who has supported our speakers and contributed to their projects as well. This is such a small showcase and a small light on an amazing, countless number of good works that are happening in the world. And for that reason, I hope we can all continue onward to act with hope and with vision and with faith in the goodness of the world that can be. So thank you all, and we hope to see you virtually or in person sooner or later, but please stay connected with us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.